Okay, everyone, so now we're going to start the class. We're going to start by going up on your toes and then down onto your heels. Up on your toes, down on your heels. Now let's switch to ankle rotations. Change the direction of the rotation. Now we're going to do the same thing on the other side. Now change the direction. Next is knee rotations. And switch the direction. Now we're going to stand about mat width apart and do hip rotations. You can go as fast or as slow as you want. Now switch the direction. Now we're going to bring our feet together and start twisting your spine. Now, while twisting your spine, try to do windmills with your arms. Same thing now, but switch the direction of the windmill. Now we're going to move our legs apart again and start moving forward and backwards while twisting your back. So we're going to move into alternating toe touch. Touch your alternate toes and then bend as far back as possible. Okay, now we're going to stretch our necks. So move your neck as far back as possible and move your eyes as far forward as possible. Then try moving your eyes in clockwise motion. Let's do the same thing, but move your eyes in the other direction. Now you can rotate your neck. Same thing, other direction. Okay, so now let's try some stretches in triangle pose. So we're going to move our legs apart a little bit more than mat width, and then start by reaching both of your hands to your left foot. If you can, try to touch your forehead to your left knee in this position. Now keep your left hand on your left foot and lift your right arm. Look at your palm and you're in triangle pose. Bring your right arm down again. Hold your left foot with your right arm, and now lift up your left arm and look at your left palm. Put both hands on the mat now and move them to the center. Try reaching your left hand to your left foot and your right hand to your right foot. Stretch as deeply as possible. Now for a challenge, try keeping both of your hands in front of you, about mat width apart, and try to bring your head down to the mat as much as possible. From here, for an extra challenge, you can try lifting up both of your arms so that they're in a parallel line with the ground. Bringing both arms down again, now try to lift up your head and slowly move both of your hands to your right foot this time. If possible, bring your forehead to your right knee. Now lift up your left arm. Keep your right hand on your foot and look at your palm. Bring your left arm down and lift up your right arm. Let's move back to the center. Put your left hand on your left foot and your right hand on your right foot. Now bring both arms together and try stretching as far forward as possible and then as far backward. Go forwards and backward. Forward and backward. Now gently try to rise up. So now we're going to do some balancing poses. So bring both of your feet together. Lift your arms up so they meet behind your ears, and then go up on your tiptoes, palm tree pose. For an extra challenge, you can also try closing your eyes. Then from here, open your eyes again and start trying to shift your weight onto your left toes. If you can, then lift up your right toes, flamingo pose. Bring your right foot down, start transferring your weight to your right leg, and try to lift up your left toes. Bring your left toes down. You can also move your hands into namaste pose. From here, squat down a little bit until you're in chair pose. For an added challenge, you can also try closing your eyes again. Open your eyes and try to lean to your left side. Now for an extra challenge, you can try putting your heels on the ground, but then try to lift up your right foot. Bring your right foot down, back up on your toes, and go back to the center. Now we're going to do the same thing on the other side. So turn to the right, and you can either stay on your toes, or you can go back down on your heels and lift your left foot. Back by putting your foot down, go to the front, get back on your toes, and squat down all the way. Now we're going to do this a few more times. So stand up fully on your toes, and then go back down. We're going to go up again, and down. Up, and down. Up and down. For one final challenge, we're going to try to do a goose walk now. So you can either keep your hands in a namaste pose, straighten them out, or for an extra challenge, lift them above your head. Now try to walk forward and backward on your mat, still on your toes. So go forward as much as you can, and then go backwards. Forward, and backwards. Keep whatever pace is comfortable. Now try to go back to the spot where you were originally. Bring your hands into a namaste pose and stand up. And now you can put your heels down. Let's try to do tree pose now. So shift all of your weight onto your right foot and then lift your left leg as high as possible. So it can go anywhere from here to all the way up on your thighs. Then lift both of your arms above you and lock your fingers above your head. Make sure your arms meet behind your ears. For an extra challenge, you can try opening your arms for balance and then closing your eyes. Be very safe when you do this pose. Open your eyes again and put your leg down. So we're going to repeat this on the other side. So I have my left leg on the ground and I'm moving all my weight onto my left leg. Then lift up your right leg as much as you can and try locking your hands above your head. Then for an extra challenge, you can open your arms and try closing your eyes. And let's go down. Next, we're going to do eagle pose. So put your weight on your left foot, lift up your left arm, wrap your right arm around your left arm, and then wrap your right leg around your left leg. And squat down as much as possible. Now we're going to do this on the other side. So weight on your right leg, lift up your right arm, wrap your left arm around your right arm, and then if possible, wrap your left leg around your right leg and sit as much as possible. Eagle pose. Okay, now we're going to try to do 90 stretch with namaste. So if possible, start by standing and then lifting up one of your legs. So in my case, I have my right leg holding all my weight and my left leg up. Bring it to 90-90 stretch. Then if you can from here, try to bring one of your arms or both of your arms under your leg and make a namaste pose with your hands. I'm going to put that leg down now, and now do the same thing with my other leg. So my weight is on my left foot, I'm lifting my right leg, and then try to put one or both of your arms underneath your leg and make a namaste pose with your hands. And you can put your leg down. Let's try one more combination. So for this one, you're going to start again with your right leg down and bringing your left leg into a 90 stretch. Then from here, grab your left toe with your left hand and try to straighten your leg as much as possible. Then from here, bend your left leg backwards and raise your right arm in a 90 stretch or a hamstring stretch. And then from here, bend forward into dancer's pose. Try to bring your body to be parallel with the ground. And then you can put your leg down. So we're going to repeat this on each side a few times. So my left leg is on the ground. Lift your right leg in 90 stretch. Grab your right toes and straighten your right leg. And then bring your right leg backwards. Lift your left hand in hamstring stretch. Finally, bend forward into dancer's pose. Let's do this a few more times on both sides. Lift your left leg into 90 stretch. Straighten your left leg. Fold your left leg backwards and lift your right arm in hamstring stretch. And then finally, lean forward into dancer pose. We're going to do this one more time on the other side. So for the last time, lift up your right leg. 90 stretch. Straighten your right leg. Fold it into hamstring stretch. And then lean forward into dancer pose. Okay. For the final standing pose, we're going to turn our mat sideways or just stand sideways onto your mat. Let's start with our left leg. So put your left leg in front of you and move most of your weight into your left leg. Then bring your right leg behind you like a curtsy. Bend forward as much as possible and then place your right hand onto the mat. Move weight into your right hand and left foot, and then if you can, try lifting up your right leg. Then from here, grab your right foot, toes, or shins, and then lean forward into grasshopper pose. Make sure that the arm you're holding your foot with is in front of your knee. Let's do that on the other side. So standing up again, I'm putting my right leg in front of me. Bring your left leg behind you. Place your left hand and weight on the mat. Then lift up your left leg and grab it. Finally, lean forward into grasshopper pose as much as possible. Great. Now let's take a quick water break. All right. So start by straightening out your left leg in front of you and bend your right knee. Then try reaching your left toes with one or both hands. Try to go as low as you can. When you reach this point, grab your foot with both hands and try to bring your forehead to your knee. Now lift yourself up. Next, we're going to lean forward onto our right leg. For an extra challenge, you can try locking your fingers behind you and then lift up your arms when you lean forward. Now we're going to rise up and do this on the other side. So fold your left leg and straighten your right leg. Then lean to your right leg and try to grab it with both hands if possible. Go as low as you can. Then if you can do that, then grab your right foot with both of your hands and bring your forehead to your right knee. Now lift yourself up, and you can lean forward on your left knee with whatever variation you prefer. Okay. Now we're going to move into butterfly stretch. So bring both of your feet together and try to bring them as close to your hips as possible. Then start fluttering your knees up and down. Try to reach your knees to the ground every time you flutter. This is a great stretch to help open up your hips. Now, with your heels and your hips as close as possible, try to lean forward and bring your nose to your toes in butterfly stretch. When you reach that, try to also bring your knees to the ground. Now lift yourself up, and while still keeping your feet together, move them slightly forward. Our next goal is to bring our forehead to where our heels are going to be, and then still try to keep your knees on the ground. And now rise up. From here, hug your knees to your body as much as possible. You can also try to grab your feet. Then in this position, you're going to want to move your legs forward slowly and then try to keep your chest in contact with your legs until you reach a deep forwards fold. Remember to keep your legs straight. And then reach up. Now move your legs to be mat width apart. Grab your right toes with your left hand and your left toes with your right hand, and then try to do a deep forwards fold with your alternate toe touch. And now you can go up. Now scoot forward in your mat just in case you fall down later. So make sure you have space behind you. We're going to try to do V-stretch. So start by holding both of your legs and then straightening one at a time. So I'm going to do my left leg and then my right leg. Left leg and then right leg. If you want, and you can continue with this stretch. If you feel comfortable, try to lift both of your legs and balance on your hips. Straighten your legs as much as possible. This is V-stretch. From here, try to bring your legs together while still holding onto your toes. V-stretch 2.0. If you're feeling comfortable from here, then try releasing both of your legs. Keep your arms next to yourself and tighten your core to help you balance. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Now from here, start fluttering your legs instead of just releasing the boat pose. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, tighten your core, 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. You can sit down now. Then when you feel ready, keep your legs out in front of you and bring your arms behind your hips with your fingertips facing whatever's behind you. We're going to try to do reverse plank from here. So when you're in this position, try to lift your hips up so you're only on your hands and your feet. When you're here, try to lift your left leg and point your toe. Then fold it onto your right leg like you would do in a 90 stretch and lift your hips as high as possible. Then you can release your left leg And try pointing the toes of your right leg and lifting it up. Then fold it like you would in a 90 stretch and raise your hips again. Bring your right leg down and try to bring your hips as high as possible. And now you can lower yourself slowly. Then from here, move both of your legs so that they're mat width apart. And start twisting your spine. We are going to go for twisted cobra. So on the count of 3, we're going to try to twist ourselves so that you reach to the left edge of your mat behind you. 3, 2, and 1. Turn backwards and try to reach your left hand to the left edge of your mat and your right hand to the right edge. For an extra challenge, try to move your right hand to where your left hand is for an extra twist. Now you can gently release yourself. Now start twisting again. When I count down from 3, we're going to try to do that on the right side. So 3, 2, 1. Twist yourself backward as much as possible, and then bring your right hand to the right edge of your mat and move your left hand to your left edge. If possible, try to move your left hand to where your right hand is for an extra twist. And you can release this. So that was twisted cobra, and now we're going to do twisted pose. So bring both of your legs together and in front of you, and bend your right leg so your knee sticks upwards. Then bring your right foot to the other side of your left leg. Twist to the right, and then bring your left arm in front of your right knee. Try to grab your left leg anywhere you can. Then turn to look at something directly behind you. Now we're going to release this pose. And do the same thing on the other side. So now we bend our left legs and bring your left foot to the other side of your right leg. Then twist to the left side and bring your right leg on the other side of your left leg. Grab your right leg around your knees, shins, or thighs. And then twist fully backwards to look at something behind you. And now we're going to release this pose. Now let's relax our muscles a bit and do child's pose. Now lift yourself up and make 2 fists with your hands. Then bring the fists together, place them at the bottom of your stomach, and then lean forwards again in child's pose. If you're having difficulties doing this pose, then it's most likely because your hands are too high up. And now we're going to rise up again. From here, let's try to do cow's face. So, take your right leg and bring it over your left leg. You can keep your left leg folded like it was in child's pose. Then you can try either putting your hips on the mat for better balance, or you can try to sit on your left heel. Now reach up with your right arm and bend it so it goes towards your left shoulder. Then bring your left arm behind your back and lock your fingers with those of your right arm and look up. Then from here, release your arms but keep your legs together. We're going to try to twist to our right side and grab your right foot with your your right hand. Then if possible, you can bring your left arm to your right knee and try to push it even closer to your hand. Then still keep your legs together, turn forwards, and then with your legs crossed, try flexing your feet, bring both of your arms in front, and try to bend forward towards your knees. Now let's rise up and do that on the other side. So bend your right leg like you would in child's pose and bring your left leg on top of it. Then straighten up your left arm and bend it backwards so it reaches to your right shoulder. Then also bring your right arm behind and lock your fingers between your left hand and your right hand. And look up if you can. Remember that it's most likely going to be different on both sides. Then unlock your hands. Put your hips on the mat if they aren't already. And twist to your left side. So you can try to reach your left foot with your left hand. Now keep your legs intertwined this way. Flex your feet. Bring your hands in front of your feet and bend towards the ground and your knees. Now let's rise up. From here, try to get into either lotus pose or half lotus. So bring your right foot onto your left thighs. For half lotus, you can keep your left leg below. And for full lotus, bring that foot onto your right thighs. So we're going to do some breathing exercises. So just start by taking a few deep breaths. So we're going to do some alternate breathing. So you're going to use your thumb and then your ring finger. Block one side of your nose with your thumb and breathe in deeply from the other side. Then move your ring finger to cover that side and breathe out from the right. From the same side, breathe in again. And then close that nose and then breathe out of the other side. Breathe in. Switch. Breathe out. Breathe in. Switch sides and breathe out. You can continue doing this at your own pace. Breathe in from one side. Block that side, breathe out on the other. Breathe in again. Switch sides and breathe out. And now release this pose. For the next pose, exhale completely so that your stomach tries to go as close as possible to your back. So squeeze your stomach in as much as possible. We're going to just be breathing in our chest. From here, we're going to take a big breath and then exhale. And then from there, we're going to try to move our tummies in and out. So now let's start the pose. Breathe in, breathe out, and then try to move your stomach in and out. Breathe in again. Remember with breathing exercises that if you feel uncomfortable, feel free to get out of the pose and then just start taking deep breaths. So let's do this next pose. We're going to breathe deeply, exhale, and then bring our chins down and try to lift up your abdomen as much as possible. So breathe in, breathe out, suck your stomach and abdomen up, and bring your chin down. And breathe in. From here, let's try to do raised lotus. So bring both of your hands on either side of your lotus. Then you can try lifting yourself fully up. If you can't do it at first, start by just lifting your hips and then lift one knee at a time. But if possible, try to do a full raised lotus. And release. Then from here, twist to the side of your mat, and then let's try to do cobra with the lotus. So bring yourself upwards and lean forward, laying down on your mat, but keep your lotus intact. Then from here, try to lift yourself up with your arms like you do in a cobra pose. Cobra with a lotus. And now release this pose. From here, we're going to move up into a tabletop position. From the tabletop, move into a plank, and then bring your right foot forward in runner's lunge. Lean backwards and look up at the sky. From here, try to turn your right leg in a 90-degree angle so it's laying on the ground. Then bring your forearms onto the ground and try to lean forward as much as possible in pigeon pose. Keep your back leg as straight as possible. Then from there, rise up and bend your left leg behind you. Then grab it with your right arm. Swan pose. Now release that. Move back to runner's lunge. Go into a plank. And now do runner's lunge with your left leg in front. Arch your back and look up at the ceiling. Then bend your left leg into a 90-degree angle. Keep your right leg behind you straight and bring your forearms and forehead to the ground as much as possible. Then lean backwards, arching your back, and grab your right leg with your right arm. Swan pose. Now release this pose. Move back into runner's lunge. Back into a plank. and release it. From here, let's try to do star plank. So move your arms out as far from each other as possible, more than mat width apart. Do the same thing with your legs and try to hold this plank. Then, if you're feeling really challenging, try lifting up your left arm. Then you can put that down and switch to lifting your right arm. Put that down and release on the mat. Now let's get back up and try to stretch for camel pose. So put your shins on flat on the mat, and then try reaching with your right arm to your left heel and stretch your other arm above you. Same thing on the other side. So your left hand to your right heel and stretch. Keep alternating. You can either continue this stretch, or if you want more of a challenge, reach for your heels with both of your hands to get into camel pose. For another added challenge, try to move your right hand to your left heels and your left hand to your right heels. Now let's rise up and transition into a deep squat. Bring both of your hands together in a namaste pose and push your knees out with your elbows. From here, hook your left arm around your left knee, stretch backward as much as possible, and try to hold your left hand with your right hand. Release that and try it on the other side. So hook your right arm around your right leg and bring your left arm behind to hold your right hand. Now release this, and you can either just grab your toes or bring your left hand under your left foot and your right hand under your right foot. Then we're going to try to stand up with our hands in this position. So try to move up into a forwards fold, and then down into deep squat. Up into forwards fold, and down in the deep squat. Once again, we're going to go up into forward fold, but while you're here, try to move your right hands to your left toes and your left hands to your right toes. Bend down as much as possible and deepen this stretch. And then from here, go back into deep squat. Let's try to practice crow pose now. So while you're in a deep squat, bring both of your arms in front of you, kind of in line with your shoulders. Then from here, lock your elbows in with your knees and try leaning forwards while bending your arms. Then try to lift one foot at a time, but eventually, if you can, try to lift both feet at the same time. Crow pose. Be very careful that you don't fall. All right. Now we're going to lay down on our mat and do our final few flows. So let's start with fish pose. Start by lifting up your legs and moving them into a lotus position, or half lotus if you're more comfortable that way. Then from here, push your lotus down onto the mat and then arch your back and your neck outwards, fish pose. This pose is really good for stretching out your spine if you sit a lot during the day. Now we're going to release fish pose and straighten out your arms and legs. Bend your knees and then bend your hands next to your head with your fingers pointing inwards and your arms pointing out. We're going to try to do bridge pose and then back bend. So for bridge pose, try lifting up your hips as much as possible. You can also go on your toes in bridge pose. But if you feel ready to move to the next step, then lift up your entire body and move into a back bend. For an extra challenge, you can also go on your toes. If you're on your toes and you want to do more, then put yourself onto your heels and try to lift and straighten your left leg. Lower your left leg and lift and straighten your right leg. Now put your right leg down and we're going to hold this back bend for a little longer. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Release your back bend. Now, keeping your legs bent, straighten out your arms next to you in a horizontal line. We're going to go for monkey stretch. So, move your knees all the way down to the right side with your feet still mat width apart. Then turn your neck to the other side. Now we're going to switch this. So your knees go to your left and your neck goes to the right. Knees to the right, head to the left. Knees to the left, head to the right. You can continue this stretch for a little more time. One more time. Bring your knees to the right and your head to the left. And then bring your knees to the left and your head to the right. Let's release this stretch. From here, straighten up your legs and keep your arms next to you. We're going to go for a 180-degree shoulder stand and then plow pose. So to start with, try lifting up both of your legs together at about 30 degrees. Next, move into 45 degrees, and then move them straight up to 90. From here, for an extra challenge, push yourself upwards, and then balance yourself by holding on with your hands and move into shoulder stand, 180 degrees from the ground. Try to keep your legs together and straighten up your body as much as possible. Then from here, for another challenge, move your legs all the way down to 270 degrees, where they touch the ground. This is plow pose. For a final challenge, grab both of your toes with your hands and straighten your legs as much as possible. This is inverted triangle. Now slowly try to move your legs back up to 180 degrees. Shoulder stand. Once again, straighten up your body as much as possible and balance on your arm. Now gently lower yourself down into 90 degrees, 45 degrees, midway down, 30 degrees, and then rest them on the ground. Now we're going to do our final stretch, which is the final resting pose or dead body pose. So straighten out your arms and legs. Wiggle your toes and fingers to start with. Now try to sense if there's any part of your body that's still tense, and try to release that tension as best as you can. One method is to try tensing up the whole area and then letting it relax to help your muscles. We're just going to relax here for a few seconds. Try to stay present in the moment. Now slowly try to turn yourself onto your left side. Open your eyes and push yourself up off the ground. And that was our class today. Namaste. Thanks for joining us tonight. Thank you.